Welcome back to World of Warships with your host, XBradTC. Today we're going to be following Grump Wagon. Grump is taking the Tier 4 U.S. destroyer, the Clemson, onto the Big Race map. And here he is heading in towards Torpedo Alley. Grump is going to have a very good game. First customers, as usual, on the Big Race map, you tend to have a destroyer duel over here on this side. The Clemson is just about identical to the Tier 3 ship, the Wicks, except that instead of 4 4-inch guns, it has 4 twin 4-inch gun mounts. And it really was built that way, and it was the only Wicks-class destroyer that I know of that had that, but effectively doubled the firepower. Now, in common with the other American low-tier destroyers, you can only get 3 of the 4 mounts pointed at the target at any one time. But with the twin mounts, that obviously has, instead of just 3 barrels, you get 6. So you can do a lot of damage very quickly. Alright, here's Grump's first traffic. Got him. And surprisingly, the enemy wasn't able to get his torpedoes off. I believe that is a Karlsruhe that he is engaging. And we're going to go to the other side of the channel. Like I said, almost every fight on the Big Race map starts on this side of the map, at least, with destroyers dueling it out. So there's always torpedoes all over the place. Oh, another destroyer. Take a quick pot shot at him. Get back to focusing on what's going on over here. Notice Grump is using the islands to prevent the enemy from gaining a direct line of sight on him, and also to shield him from all the torpedoes being sprayed around. Oh, very low health enemy destroyer. And that's 2. Grump is kind of going hunting for the enemy cruiser over here, but decides maybe there's bigger fish to fry. There are battleships in the backfield, and rather than just going straight for them, well, another destroyer, take a shot at him. Get the torps out, see which way he's going to go, dodge the incoming torpedoes. That's a little Japanese destroyer, and I can't quite tell what it is because the preview screen here is very small. So Grump's getting torps out, getting gun rounds out, trying to take a best guess which way the enemy's going to turn. Shots out, and that's 3. Grump's trying to decide what to do next. Again, he's looking at those tasty battleships back there. It'd be nice to go kill a couple of them. This is a zone battle, which is different from the regular domination modes. You have to have the zone cleared of enemy ships and have one of your ships in the zone. And I forget how long exactly it takes. I've never bothered trying to win by capping in the zone battle. Torpedo indicator, take a quick look. No immediate threat. Who are you going to go for? There's a South Carolina, there's a Wyoming. Put some rounds out on the South Carolina. Notice, as he pulled the trigger, he's scooting to where he's going to have the island providing cover. I do believe that was the Wyoming that just took a shot at him. Pay attention to that Tenryu that we just saw him look at. It's going to make a special guest appearance here shortly. Clemson's a fun little ship, but like most U.S. destroyers at the low tiers, it suffers in that its visibility, its detection range, is much greater than the range of its torpedoes. So you have to be sneaky, use islands to sneak up on the enemy, keep outside the line of sight. There's a St. Louis, he's detected. Fortunately, the St. Louis doesn't seem to be interested in opening fire on him, and so he's not going to open fire on the St. Louis. No sense inviting trouble. Instead, he's going to go after the Wyoming. You would think that it would be suicidal, but battleships tend to have armor piercing loaded, which doesn't do a whole lot of damage to you when they hit you. Destroyers are very small targets and can maneuver quite a bit, and so they're quite hard to hit. And when the AP does hit, it tends to over-penetrate, go right through, doing very little damage. And so just doing the hippie shake as you chase down a battleship is actually somewhat survivable. You only really run into trouble when you have an enemy cruiser or somebody off to one side or the other that's able to take you under fire. And here, Grump is trying to maneuver to get the tubes pointed at the Wyoming. And since we're detected and we're in range, he's going to slow down, pop smoke, launch on the South Carolina off his port beam, uses guns in torpedoes on the Wyoming on the starboard side. And he's sitting right there in his little smoke screen, so he's not detected. And so he can just keep pumping out torpedoes for a couple of minutes. Wyoming obviously has problems of his own. In addition to having to dodge all these torpedoes, he's got somebody over on his side. Oh, just put a torp into the South Carolina. He's taking gunfire from the side, and Grump keeps putting torpedoes on him. Is he going to get the kill? It looks pretty good. No. The Wyoming continues the turn, and all but one of these are going to pass astern. Grump gets a good piece of them, though. Starting to set up, but no. The last salvo from the battleship takes him out. Grump's going to go after the South Carolina now. Alright, head full. Let's go look for the South Carolina. He's over there somewhere. There he is. And while that's happening, Grump almost makes a fatal error here. Oh, where did that Tenryu come from? It was not in the line of sight, so immediately turn away, get the torps out. And so the Tenryu should have just been shooting him with the guns. He was dead when he came around the corner. That's 4. Easy to dodge torps from the Tenryu. The Tenryu has to turn because it has very limited firing arcs for its torpedoes. They're good torpedoes, but very limited firing arcs. And if you'd have spent that time turning in towards Grump and shooting at him, they may well have killed Grump. And in executing his turn to get away from the Tenryu, Grump happens to stumble on the enemy carrier. He's in range, starts shooting. You'll notice the torpedo bombers are up. Grump is shooting, looking, where are the torpedo bombers, where are the torpedoes? He knows they're coming in. And a nice little bit of fancy footwork here, dodging the torpedoes. Well done. One squadron down. Get back to shooting. Firing high explosive at the carrier. The idea being you want to set his flight deck on fire. While his flight deck is on fire, he cannot launch or recover aircraft. And this was a terrible drop from the torpedo bomber squadron. I suspect that was an automatic drop by the carrier driver being in a hurry. But Grump didn't even have to maneuver to avoid it. And there's the Confederate award. Grump's usually a little better shot than this. He's kind of struggling to get some rounds on there. Getting 1 or 2 each time, but not much more. And you see him recovering his aircraft. There we go, there's a fire. Carrier's almost certainly going to, well, you can't launch and recover, as I said, the torpedo bombers, which is his best defense at this time. And it looks like Grump's got another fire set. So probably going to burn a little while. And now Grump can just settle down, pump rounds in. Getting a good penetration every salvo. Just wearing them down a few hundred at a time. You'll notice someone in our team is in the zone and is capping, and Grump's actually in a race to see if he can kill this guy before we win by capping. Another salvo in. Earns the high caliber award, and this should do it. Oh, one more. Come on. There we go. That's 5 kills. Unleash the Kraken. High caliber. Devastating strike. Not bad at all. Confederate also. Well done to Grump Wagon. 303,000 credits, almost 3,000 XP, 8 torpedo hits, 96 gun hits. That's it for this episode, and we will catch you later.